If you saw my other little Inktober video, you know that I was working on my Peter Pauper tiles in sets of 3. I did lots of little pumpkin pictures and some just crazy designs. And I was planning to do my usual Inktober picture, which was based around a pumpkin with some falling leaves and some hazelnuts. That didn't actually happen because my energy levels were very low. I was running out of time, there were other things going on. So I ended up continuing with my sets of 3 for my falling leaves, with the colours changing. I did some individual leaf studies. This leaf is a leaf I picked in my garden a year ago in October and put it on the windowsill and just watched it crinkle. And even this year, as I was actually drawing, it's crinkled up a little bit more as well. So that will go back into a little dish on my windowsill and I will keep it as long as I can. Hopefully it will still be able to draw it next Inktober. I also had these 3 little hazelnuts sitting around. The squirrel likes hazelnuts and I kept these 3 out so I could do some hazelnut studies. So doing different methods with my pit pens, just practicing, and I just thought they're just a lovely colour, and I wanted to work on a theme of the browns and the oranges of autumn this year with a bit of yellow. And I love this pumpkin so much. The skin is quite textured compared to the larger pumpkins. So this little Munchkin pumpkin, it's the first time I've actually bought one, but I really, really love the shape of it. I love the size of it. And so I got some vella paper because I wanted to get the texture down on paper. And I think this has changed colour as well a bit. This is now, we're past Inktober, we're into November, so the colour is changing slightly, but it was much more like this when I did the picture a few weeks ago. So I used wet ink as my base on my pit pen for my outline, and then when the ink was dry, I went over with my Inktense pencils dry to get some texture in, and that works really well. This vella paper works really, really well. It's a Strathmore mixed media vella paper. Very much enjoy using it. I don't use it as much as I should, but it made me remember how wonderful this paper is. Any sort of textured fruit or vegetables would come out really nicely on here with pen and ink and with your coloured pencil. I wanted to get some extra depth with the coloured pencil. Now with this one, I liked the top view and the bottom view of this pumpkin. It reminded me it was very flower shaped. So this was just a rough little study. Instead of using my Pitt pen, I used a micron in orange to outline. So the outlines are not quite as well defined. I'm not sure really that I like it quite as much. I'm so used to drawing with my black pen, but I think it's always good to change things up, and it's much more flower-like with the orange petals, I think, petal-like. So that was the top of the pumpkin and this was the bottom of the pumpkin. I mean, we don't always look at the bottom of a pumpkin, but it's equally pretty. And I use my Inktense pencils wet on here, so I use them dry, then I used a brush to wash them in to get this very soft effect, and I think that is a very pretty effect. So this is basically the end of my Inktober for this year. Next year I'm definitely going to get more of these beautiful Munchkin pumpkins. I absolutely love them. I think if I had 3 of them I could get a really nice pose, add in some nuts and some leaves and work on a bigger sheet of the vella paper. So I did really enjoy doing this. Again, like last year, I didn't get as much done as I wanted, but the thing is, I did get something done, and I enjoyed what I was doing. This is by far my favourite picture that I did over Inktober. I really like this one, and I'm really looking forward to using this paper again, the Strathmore Mixed Media paper in vellum. So I hope you enjoyed your Inktober, or you're encouraged to try Inktober next year. And don't forget, you can do your pen and ink daily doodles every day of the year. It doesn't have to be Inktober. Start when you want, miss a day if you want to, but just to get into that daily habit of drawing is just a wonderful way to take your mind off your other problems.